Actually was a guide and a guide for me. Um, what else? Well, I'm doing a lot of a lot of shows here and there. I'm going to LA. I'm going to Tia Chucha's, which is in Silmar, which is Luis Rodriguez's, bookstore. I've never been there, so I'm excited. I'm doing a reading there July 22nd at 6 p.m. Whoever wants to come over, we're going to have 3 other dope poets there, and we're going to have Mauricio, and we're going to have Rudy Lopez, and we're going to have Pam. I forget her last name, Pam Posada, I think. And I've never met her either. Again, it's about building community, like you said, Andrea. Thank you so much for doing this, because it's the same thing. I'm going to meet somebody else, and I'm doing readings this Saturday in San Francisco at Medicine for Nightmares. And I've joined a group here in Sacramento, and this is another thing I recommend. I just moved to Sacramento 2 years ago, and just tell me when I'm talking too much, okay? Because I tend to talk a lot. And I moved to Sacramento. I joined the group, a writing group. So we meet once a month, and we're just there to write together. And that kind of keeps you not accountable, but it keeps you inspired and keeps you writing if you don't do it at home. And so I'm really busy. I work. I'm in school again. And so, yeah, basically, I don't know what else to say, but does that cover it?
There's a lot to say. Now you could just bless our mic with a poem, but that was so beautiful, just sharing your experience and why you write. So that's why we're here. So you never know who you're going to touch in the audience or who's going to see this to be inspired. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. So this poem, I'm just going to say, is inspired by when I got back from Mexico without my mom. Hi, Lupe. When I got back from Mexico without my mom, I was very sad and very lonely, and I was a high schooler, and everything felt very sad. This poem is about hope, and I was trying to find this hummingbird, which I thought was my mother. So this is the namesake poem, and I don't know it by heart, but I'll read this one. It's called Huitzilopochtli. When you were close to going, you whispered to me that the recipe to stay alive was to follow Huitzilopochtli. Searching for her in the skies would keep me alive, you said. Weeks before, your almond-shaped brown eyes could only muster seeing strange visions out of the corner of our ceiling. Before morphine placed your beautiful dying soul in a stupor, in that small apartment 1,500 miles south of Los Angeles, in a rambling town of broken sidewalks and noisy, colorful buses, of markets with the aromas of sweet pineapples and ripe cantaloupes. You talked about Huitzilopochtli one last time. Before the sun shone strong the day before, your body gave in. When your breath gurgled out, rose up listlessly, wet my tears even more, silenced my screams inside. You told me about her winged flight. You told me you would become her after your azure wooden box nailed shut was submerged under warm, crumbly brown, soft till soil. You told me you would be there, small hummingbird, when I returned to my desert rose near Santa Monica, away from the sands of the Coahuiltecan Desert, toward the winds of the Pacific, when darkness would hover ever so gloomily, while I watched the crest of the San Gabriels turn blue with the heaviness of January storms. You told me you would watch from under your wings, from under the leaves, when loneliness fell and trapped my being, as if the air weighed 50 pounds more. I looked for your flight upon returning to LA without you, Mama. I saw you in my mind's eye when I kindly said no to the girls in 10th grade in the restrooms during passing period, when both lines of Coke and Aquanet stuck like white beads of stiff excess to noses and hair as they were passed around with nonchalant laughter. You reminded me to refuse the searing heat of rum or vodka that Papa used to burn away the sorrows of his broken heart. I looked for your flight, the gentle hum of your wings, small bird of the Aztecs, messenger of your maternal love, when the streets held my steps, when homelessness was my gig, when it felt like the end of happiness was my companion, when my battered, tired soul cried in disbelief about what it deserved. I looked to the skies with Tlipochtli, and from that sticky, grungy gray sidewalk, then saw your hovering image. It was so true. 2 seconds of you was all I needed to stay alive.
Hmm. Yes, ma'am.
You can get it at World Stage Press. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you.
Thank you
I'm
so much for
blessed.
sharing that. I appreciate it.
I'm
We're
blessed
gonna
to be.
move. Thank you. We're gonna move to the next poet, Lucas. Tell us about yourself, what you have going on in the community, and any upcoming events, and then bless our mic.
Oh man, tough act to follow. Uh, I love your work, Estela. Um, Lucas Rivera, Afro Rican poet from Philly. Been here for about 11 years now. I work in the events production field. I came out here to open up Grand Park in downtown LA. Did that for several years, and then went over to Fairplex and ran Fairplex for a while with Miguel Santana. Did that work. Now I'm producing, I continue producing events and working in strategy work with a lot of nonprofits, arts organizations. I have my own company called Saku Creative, and Next Fest LA. We support over 300 local artists, musicians from LA County. Um, and what's going on? The next thing going on is Central Avenue Jazz Festival. Please come out September 23rd on Central Ave. That's going to be hot and popping. Can't tell you the artist yet because we need to keep it on download until we announce. But that's happening September 23rd, which is the same day I'm going to be in Philadelphia launching my book, My Afro-Rican State of Soul, which comes out on that same day in the East Coast. And then we'll do something here in the West Coast right soon after. But super excited to be back in front of the stage. I've been behind the stage for probably about 15 years. Um, so I'm excited to be on the stage again. I have a background in dance, music, poetry, and paint. I do everything from stained glass, mural work, acrylic painting, and yeah, multidisciplinary artist. I just got to get it in. I can't stay still. So you're gonna see me moving a lot as well. So, this piece, I'm gonna start with my piece. I forgot to mention. So, book comes out and album comes out the same time. There's a full music album that accompanies the book, sold separately, but it's a whole montage of Afro Rican music, everything from salsa to rumba. And so on. So you get a taste of the sounds of the Caribbean with some poetry in there. So this piece is a tumbao, is a salsa piece in the album. It's called Hope. And if you get the book, there's a QR code to the live concert performance of the piece. So yeah, when you get it, please check it out. Here we go. Aquí llegué, América. Aquí llegué, America. They chanted, holding hands as one by one they exit the plane and touch for the first time the land of the free. Aquí llegué, América. Aquí llegué, America. Have you ever witnessed 500 Boricua hands clapping after safely landing on the tarmac? Hoping, traveling from La Isla on large Airbuses, one-way promises of a better life in the Big Apple, but ending up in sweatshops, stitching together a life torn apart, chanting as they work. Boricua, hermanas y madres, chanting as they work. Aquí llegué, América. ¿A qué lo que llegué? América. Hope, hoping for a better life, cashing in on agreements by politics with rubber checks, trying to stay hydrated while their heated bodies squeeze out the last drip, Drip of hydration, the last drop in the sweatshop where machines. No, no, no. Their hands, their bare hands, blistering hands push to hit the daily garment quota. Boricuas on the production line, ready to clock out. Hands, feet, back. Their beaten bodies can't wait to clock out. Mama is working a double. Hope. Hoping for a better day. And at midnight, when she finally gets in, I can hear her cry, chanting, Aquí llegue América. Aquí lo que llegue América. Morning rises, but we speak not. Searching for a better life, hoping for a better life. They landed in America alone. Young women leaving all they have back home, hoping for a better life in los Estados Unidos. Yeah, right. Chanting, holding on to identity, cultura, idioma, chanting. Aquí llegué, América. Aquí lo que llegué, América. Pero ¿por qué América? Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yes, thank you so much for the musical aspect with the poetry. It was very soothing. Always a great pleasure hearing you, Lucas.
Thank you, Andrea.
Up next to bless our mic is Crystal. Crystal, tell us about yourself, what you have going on in the community, and then bless our mic.
Hi, everyone. My name is Crystal Reyes. I consider myself a multi hyphenate artist, from being a poet to writing to being a cake decorator, bartender, barista, mother, and everything in between. I am pretty busy most days. Right now, I am currently a grad student and I'm finishing my master's in higher education. I graduate in December, and in January, I actually just accepted acceptance into Bay Path University for my MFA in nonfiction writing. So it took me a while. I really want to focus on my memoir. I've written a little bit here and there. I will share in the chat an article that was published. It was a memoir piece. It was published about 3 years ago. And it's just a very condensed piece of my life and the traumas that I lived through, from leaving a DV marriage to raising my kids and everything else in between. So, yeah, that's basically what my next steps are. I did finish my first poetry collection, which is Wild. Hope y'all see it. Wildflower Blooming. And a big shout out to Estela, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't be done with all of this. We actually met about a year ago at a poetry workshop. I'm not even sure which one exactly, but we were there and we messaged and we exchanged information. And I found out about CLI, and here we are a year later. So, a lot of blessings to you. I thank you so much for that. And in between, I am doing poetry openings here and there in Houston when I do have time. Having three kids, from a teenager to a toddler, can be very crazy. So, I do make my time for everything in my life. I am going to share a piece. Let me find it. So this was a piece, or a poem, I should say. One of the first poems that my therapist kind of pushed me to let all of those feelings out when I did end and leave my marriage. So this one is called Distant Resolve. Tirada sobre el piso como ropa vieja. You glare at me, dignity down the drain, frozen by your stare, afraid of the next chapter. Where do I go from here? I ask myself repeatedly. Days turn to weeks, years fly by, lies spit from the corner of your tongue, hot on her heels, heavy on my mind, yet she is the one you were trying to find. Did you ever really love me? Doble vida, nothing set in stone. Déjalo libre. Libérate. You are more than these apologetic excuses. Now, where do I go from here?
Woo! Thank you so much for that piece. You never know who you got, who needs to hear this. So I appreciate you sharing that. Up
Thank you.
next to bless our mic is Saint Ice. Saint
Hey,
Ice,
well,
tell us what you have going on, and then bless our mic with a poem.
okay. So, good evening, everyone. Oh man, the talent that went before me, you guys are absolutely amazing. So I'm over here on pins and needles, like, oh my God, I gotta go behind these wonderful folks. Why would you do this to me? At any given rate, the name is Saint Ice. I am a native Angelino, born and raised Southern Cali. I think my first stab at poetry, I was in the rap group. Man, I don't look as old as I am. So this was like back in 1982. I was actually signed to one of the first West Coast groups pre-NWA. We were called the Rappers Rap Group. Then we got on Liberace's label and we changed the name of the group to Dark Star. So between then and now, what I'm doing now, I have a book out. The book is called Love. Can we do this? Love is So Cool. Okay, and that's your boy Saint Ice. And what it is, it's a combination of poetry and art pieces. Because as Andrea stated earlier, I'm also a visual artist. I draw, I do graphics, I do comics. I got a line of graphic novels out under my government name. That's another conversation. But this book, the heart of this book is the relationship from a male's perspective, how I took the liberty to express where I am as a man and the highs and the lows and the places in between when it comes to relationship. Not a simp, not a wimp, not a pimp, just a real dude with some feelings. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna read this piece. Oh, what I got? What would I have coming up? Andrea and I are working on something. I don't know if she can, if I'm allowed, but working on a project called Magnificent Seven. We'll revisit that later. I'm also going to be in a program called Tools for Living with Stacy Bullock. She's also very busy in the poetry arena. I do a lot of my microphone work over at the World Stage in Leimert Park, and I try to frequent Swam every other Friday, every time I get a chance. So that's kind of like my stomping grounds over in Leimert Park.
And he's
With that,
hosting St. Dill's book release at the World Stage Press on July 19th.
which is next week. Woo! Or July Merciless. Okay. So this piece is that I don't know how y'all relationships work, but I was ending one, or one had ended for me, and then another one was opening up. I don't know if y'all ever been there. So this is how we do this one. This is called Amazing. There I was, tattered and empty, just a shell of all that I should be. This man, trying while limping and broken, my heart in jagged parts. On the pain, I was choking. Then your voice, so soothing, connects to my soul. Arms open wide, I reach, I hold. On the brink, I drink deeply from the core of your embrace, shaking, nearly breaking, inhaling deep into my space. Borderline guilty as I indulge in your taste. I feel otherworldly, and then you take me to your place. So there I escape. You see, you are beautiful and phenomenal, and I'm going to call it crazy, healing me, loving me, this